Rate cuts are on the horizon, and we know this because what has unfolded over the last couple weeks. Now, I recently made a video about the two things that I'm going to be talking about. One was the Jackson Hole Summit and the economic outlook and how Jerome Powell was going to speak. The second one is Lisa Cook committed fraud, and guess what? She might be out of there. So stick around in this video because these two things are going to shape our economic future, our economic outlook, and could put a lot of money in your pockets if you know what to do. The first thing, Jackson Hole Summit. What did Jerome Powell do? What did he say? And I'm actually going to dive right into it. So first up, Powell at the Jackson Hole in a speech that had everyone floored because we're kind of shocked that he said this, especially the way that he's been talking in the past. He basically said that he's shifting his economic risks, and it may warrant adjusting policy in their stance that they have. And the stance that they have right now is that he does not want rate cuts because he thinks inflation is still going up. But this actually signals that the Fed could cut rates as soon as September. Now, he also went on to say basically that the inflation and the numbers do make him a little nervous, and he kept going. And if you haven't watched it, go and watch that. But he was actually dovish, and dovish means bullish. If he wasn't dovish, then he would have been bearish. He would have been hawkish is what it's called. Hawkish is bearish and dovish is bullish. And the markets actually responded super fast. And I made a video about this, about how the volatility on the 22nd during the Jackson Hole Summit was going to be absolutely insane. Because if Jerome Powell would have said the opposite, we would have seen markets go down fast. But instead, they rallied super hard. And the 2-year Treasury yield dropped, the dollar softened, US dollar softened, and actually analysts say that the odds of September rate cuts surged to around 85 to 87%. So we have basically an 85 to 87% chance of a rate cut. That is absolutely insane. So if you've just been accumulating and just saying, hey, I'm just going to keep buying and dollar cost average, if it goes down, that's okay. I'll buy more. And eventually, once those rate cuts do happen, we will see a surge in the market. And I do think some of the surge is already caked in, but I also don't at the same time because we've seen these patterns in the market where it goes super high and then it pulls back 10, sometimes 15%, especially in the crypto markets. So if you're buying on those dips, I just can't see how that means the rate cuts are already factored in, especially if you're buying on the low side of those dips. So you just do you do your own research, but that's kind of how I've been doing it. One source put this bluntly: Powell did something no one expected, effectively saying a cut is likely in the next month. That is bullish. That is super bullish because this is exactly what we want. This is exactly what we want as investors. This is exactly what we want as Republicans. This is exactly what we want as President Trump followers, or what President Trump wants. So if you like anything about economy, if you like anything about investing, Trump is basically saying, hey, let's slash this and let's get a lot of money in our pockets. Now, the second thing that has happened is the Lisa Cook firing. And what does that have to do with anything? Because she did commit mortgage fraud. And if you don't know anything I'm talking about, go and click this video right here. I go over exactly what happened. Basically, she bought a house in Ann Arbor, Michigan, saying it was her primary residence. So she actually got a lower interest rate. Then 15 days later, she bought a condo in Atlanta, Georgia, saying it was also her primary residency, which you cannot do because you can only have one primary residency. So it's basically mortgage fraud. That's exactly what it is. So Trump said, hey, you need to, step down. And Lisa Cook said, no, I have a vow to fight the dismissal, arguing that Trump lacks legal authority to fire her because she did nothing wrong. She did nothing wrong in her eyes. But the thing is that it's literally the law and you can't do what she did. So what did Trump do? Well, Trump came out and dropped a bombshell. He straight up said, hey, I'm firing Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook. and that she had mortgage fraud. That's it. And so what this means is that the Federal Reserve Governor, Lisa Cook, is out. Well, there's only 7 Federal Reserve governors, and the Federal Reserve governors are the ones that actually get to vote on whether we get a rate cut or not. So she's a Democrat. She was appointed by Biden. Trump does not want her in there because her viewpoints do not align with what Trump wants. Now he will get to put whoever he wants in that spot, in that chair, that 7 committee chair of the Federal Reserve. President Trump gets to now put someone where he wants them that is going to be aligned with him. And so with all this happening, the market stayed focused, and actually in the short term, Treasury yields fell further while the yield curve steepened and suggesting investors are ready for the rate cut. They are locked in. We are focused. We are locked in. We think that this means rate cuts are on the horizon. So if you put together Powell's speech where he's being dovish, saying, hey, we got to change some policy, we have to, and then Cook getting fired, which is someone that was also against Trump, that just reinforces the power of this whole narrative. The central bank policy is shifting towards easing of rates. They're going to come down. And now traders, us investors, are seeing these high probabilities of September rate cuts and more rate cuts by the end of the year. It might not just be one rate cut. It might be multiple. So stocks are starting to rally a little bit because the Jackson Hole. We have had a little bit of a pullback, but overall, the markets are responding beautifully. And if you have any dip that you see, any dip that happens basically before the next rate cut, so from here to the next rate cut, if you have that conviction of buying because you think rates are going to get cut and your investments can go up, hey, you do your own opinion, but that's what I'm doing. I'm buying low, trying to sell high. Get in early, and then I can just hold it for a long time. And then when the markets do go up and down, guess what? Well, if I'm buying it down here, it gets to here, and then the markets fluctuate. No matter what, I'm in the green because I'm buying at a good spot. I'm getting my spots in my entries and stuff at the low, so that no matter what happens, I'm still in the green, and I don't have to sit there and be like, man, I'm down today. I'm up today. I'm down today. I'm up today. So just do your own research. But that is 2 things that is absolutely going to shape our economy because rate cuts are in the future, and we just seen what happened. If you like this type of content, give me a like, give me a subscribe, and comment down below what you think will be the next rate cut, when and how much. Remember, guys, until next time, you can do all things through him that give you strength. Peace.